Alright, I'm going to do another video on modding in Zmodeler once again, but my standard disclaimer on here that I do not recommend Zmodeler. I do recommend you learn Blender because Blender is free and it's more powerful, but Zmodeler is what I know at this point, so it's what I'm working with. What I've got to do today is my K100 Truck and Trailer mod. I basically need to redo the truck. There were some updates to the K100 and to the game that had kind of broken it, and rather than try and fix it, I'm just going to redo it. So I'm taking the K100 and putting a flatbed on it. So I'm gonna come out of here and find the K100. And we're looking for a chassis. Chassis flat is my original flatbed chassis that I made for it. So I'm going to open both of these actually. And use my first one as a guide. Let's see if I can remember which variant it is. Alright. I wanted to say it was 3B. Maybe it is 3A. Okay. So that's my original one. And this is what 3A is on the standard truck. So I'm just going to highlight the frame here. Just highlight everything, doesn't matter. We'll take note of kind of what these are here. Mud flaps. It's probably fenders here. Yep. These would be our particles for these generate the particles under the wheels, like rain and dust when you're off-road, things like that. Probably want this node to stay there. Yeah, that's our trailer cable node. We'll leave that there. So this whole back end will get stretched out. All these nodes are going to move along with it. So we should find a reference point, kind of. Our reference point, I guess, will be our wheel nodes centered up with the center of the axles. So again, I right click when I do this and I drag to the left. That way I only have to cover a small part of the object before it will select it. If I go this way, it will not select an object unless you select the entire object. So we'll do that. We're going to switch to edge up here. Now when I do this, it's not going to drag all these nodes with me. Now I'm going to turn this one back on. This is going to be our reference here. That looks pretty close, so I'm going to turn that one back off. And it's Shift-D to deselect anything in Zmod. Alright. Now the advantage of dragging to the right now is it's not highlighting this frame or anything. It's only it goes completely over all these little nodes, so it is selecting these when I do that. So now I can just grab these. I'm going to hold Control while I do this so it moves in a straight line. Boom, all these nodes are lined up where they should be now. So that's our wheelbase. See, I do want to get rid of this fifth wheel. No need for that. So I'm going to select like that. Now we're going to switch to vertex. And just come in here and do a total hack job. Get rid of that. We don't need it. Switch back to object. Shift D. Deselect the chassis. This is our hook node. This is what the trailer attaches to. So I'm going to get that out of there. Come on. Because it's going to need to be back here with the spindle hitch. Okay, so now we need to bring in some more objects. We need the flatbed, we need the rear bumper, and we're going to need the pintle hitch portion of the flatbed. That'll come from a trailer chassis. And then we're going to need the headboard, or the wall as it's called in SCS. Alright. Come on. It does this autosave thing, and when it does, it locks up for a little while while it's doing that, so it's something you gotta put up with. Let's see here. What did I want first? I guess the flatbed. So we're gonna go to trailer owned SCS flatbed body. We want the 28-foot aluminum body. Actually, I need to change this to the K100. Don't know if that's a big deal on when you're importing. I know you want to have that set correctly when you're exporting, I believe. Okay, now we've imported this flatbed. Where is it? Alright, it's down here. I'm gonna drag that. I'm gonna turn this one back on again. And again, use it as my guide for where to place this. Looks pretty good to me. Turn that back off. Okay. Now you can see one thing I did, a little trick I had to pull off. So I'm gonna turn that back on. There's a little more work to do with the frame here. I had to stretch the frame out to bring the rails back here, and I raised the frame as well to kind of get the height I needed out of it. So deselect. Select the frame now. Go to edge. We're going to grab this. Actually, I don't know if I need that. That might be just part of the fifth wheel assembly. I'm going to kind of flatten all this out. Now the disadvantage to doing this on this frame particularly, as you can see down here, this frame is AO baked. It has shadows baked into the texture, so it's not going to look super great when I start stretching it out, but it's kind of my only option unless I want to change the material on the frame, which I might. Not a huge deal. So I'm just going to kind of drag that back to about there for now. Highlight there. And about there. Just kind of raise that up until it meets the flatbed. Yeah, this thing in here, that's just the fifth wheel hardware, so we're going to switch to vertex and see if I can just delete that and not cause a big problem. Okay. Cool, got that all stretched out. Luckily, this is kind of mostly hidden under here, so you don't really see this, but it's something you got to think about. Okay, let's compare that again. Alright, so we got that in. Let's get in the wall or the headboard. Accessory, BF body. I think I want that one. Is that the one I want? Yep. Oh, I'm still in vertex mode, so I need to come back, get an object. I can grab this guy. What's this node down here? Cargo. Oh, this was the cargo node that was with the flatbed, so I'm going to have to address that at one point. And actually, you want to see something I learned about? Okay, we're going to expand this here. Oh, no, it doesn't work. It's tied to the chassis, not the body. Never mind. If we had the chassis open, I could drop this wall onto the wall node on the chassis, and it would just line right up to where it's supposed to for the trailer chassis. Okay. Just going to kind of get that lined up. Okay. Is this our cargo node? Yep. Deselect that. We'll grab this guy. Once again, it did that thing that I mentioned in my last video where it'll kind of freeze up. Come on, go away, Steam. So you gotta Alt-Tab into something else and then come back and then it works. Don't ask me why. Okay, that's plenty good. Next thing, we need a bumper on the rear. Gonna find our bumper. That'll be under our body, or no, our bumper. And this is just our standard flatbed bumper. I don't want the don't want the one with the other taillights. I like the round taillights. So this is in the wrong orientation for us. So I'm going to go ahead and select everything I can here, make sure I don't leave anything out. Come to our top view, and if we hit fit on our view boxes here, it just brings the whole thing out to where we can see everything. Gonna give that a good 180. And the old move. Bring on that. Plenty happy with that. Okay. I think the last thing we need to import is the trailer chassis that has the spindle portion on the rear, so we can drop that on there. I think my frame is a little long. I'm going to just bring it back for now and kind of get it out of the way. Okay, for this, we're going to go here. We want chassis 28 hook. That means it has a hook on the back or a spindle hitch. So you can see everything's all kind of mixed up in here. We're going to go back to Object, Deselect, collapse everything, and just turn everything else off. So we can get at this here. I'm going to come in here. I'm just going to select all this crap that we don't need. Oh, there we go. Don't need any of those nodes. I'm going to select this. We're going to go to polygons. or polygon. I'm just going to select that. We go to here, detach polygons from object. It's now a new object. So we're back in object mode, hit move. Okay, so this is the object we want. I'm just going to bring it up here to flatbed for now, and then the rest of this, junk it. It's going to do its autosave. I'm going to take a drink. Vodka. All right. Bring our chassis back. Flatbed, wall, that. Okay, we're still selected, so I'm just going to drag this bad boy. Take a look in 3D view and see what it looks like. I'm going to have to tweak it just a little bit. I want to get rid of these little ears, these little guides on the top of the spindle, or the sides of the spindle hitch. Don't really want those. Just going to go into vertex again and start deleting crap I don't want. Alright, that looks pretty good. Kind of bring these ears down. Alright. Okay, you can tell I manipulated the shapes slightly differently between the two. Okay, we got that in there. What I'm going to do, I want to turn off this fake shadow thing. Oh, right, that was part of this. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. Okay. Well, so now we got all these different parts. Oh, one thing I'm missing, the marker lights for the side of the truck. I could take those maybe from that original one, but there could be some texture problems with that, so I'm not going to. 1 second here, and we'll get this frame taken up kind of back to where it should. That looks fairly convincing. Okay. Okay, we need to add the marker lights. That's a separate object. Go back to accessories, markers. Flatbed 28-1 I think is the exclusive ones that has the extra markers. And I want to say, no, it doesn't. Okay. Once again, I'm going to, so I don't chance grabbing any of the wrong things here. Only thing I have, oh wait, these are not the exclusive. Meaning the fancy ones. Okay. Cool. So that's all of them. Get that selected up where we can work with it. Those will come up somewhere around there. Just like that. Okay. Alright, that is everything except damn hook node. Is that what I put way up here? Wow. And with these on a spindle hitch, you want it on this part here, because this part goes through the center of the eye on the trailer. So that's the way to put it to make it look proper. Okay, so now we have a bunch of work to do here. I'm going to delete our template one here. We're on chassis 3A, so we got to figure out where we need to put stuff here. So if we okay, if we turn off chassis 3, we know this is the sub thing that this is using for many of these parts. So I'm going to put all these parts in there. Grab that, drag it up to there. Something I didn't think about. Okay, we'll have to put the collision up here as well for this flatbed. Deal with that in a minute. I'm not going to worry about the collision for the headboard. Like that. All this stuff. And all these. What did I miss here? What's A03? This is something you can do. You can right click on an object here, find in views, and it'll take you to find it. Oh, that's our spindle. Definitely need that. These aren't in the right thing. There we go. Okay. Got all those. Okay, we don't need most of these. These are little portions of the collision up at the front that represent like the stake pocket things up here for the headboard. And those are there so it catches properly on trailer cables and such, but we're not having any collisions up there on this truck, so. Just gonna get it roughly in place there. Notice these collision names, they're CL, it's not CI or C1. Now there's all of these. So now we have to figure out which one all our collisions are on here. Okay, no, yeah, I'm just gonna have to put this in here. The rest of these we can now get rid of. Come on. Okay. So now I need to convert this to a compound. Well, I have this scene selected, so now when I do this variant, I do get that flatbed there. Or I do get the collision there with it. Okay, I think we are done. So one thing I didn't discuss at all in my last video, or this one yet, is materials. And what you have to do if you're taking parts from one thing and using them in another thing. You've got, so let's say you have Viper 2, the Viper 2 389 or whatever it is, 379 really, and you're taking exhaust from that and you want to use it on some other truck. Now you'll notice when you do that and you just take files and swap them without handling any of the material stuff, if you don't have the Viper 2 Pete active on your computer or on your profile at the same time, you'll have material errors because it doesn't know where to get the materials from. So that's a whole thing with this and these folders, and basically you'll have to take the materials and redirect them to a different folder, or you literally just copy these folders directly, folders and the textures, because there's textures that go with these as well, and literally copy all that and dump it into your mod file so it can find those, which is kind of hacky because like you'll open your mod for your K100 and there'll be a folder in there for the Viper Pete, just because it contains that's where all the materials are. So there's ways to make it nice and clean, so it's not, you're not having to do that, and you don't have to have the mod active either. So I'm not really covering any of that because I'm using all SCS parts. It's going to pull all these materials from the base, at least until SCS makes a big change like they did to warrant where I am right now, having to fix this because they made a change. So these collisions here, I forgot, I need to bring these collisions back here to about this rear bumper, so I have some collision. I'm going to raise it up a little because we've got a very shallow angle here for going over bumps and such, so I'm going to give myself a little clearance there. Alright, now I need to change this name here to chassis_flat. And we will export it. If you don't change the name here to match what you're putting out here, it's not going to work. It'll basically corrupt the file. Alright. Got some errors in here. I don't know how important these are at the moment. But we're going to press on. Bring up my K100 mod. Now you have three files typically when you're using Zmod: PMG, PMD, and PMC. The PMD is what you open, but it just kind of contains a little data and it points to your PMG and your PMC. Your PMC is your collision file, and your PMG is like your 3D model, basically. If you, for whatever reason, like a lot of objects don't have collisions, so it won't have a PMC to go with it, but things like your chassis and your cabs are going to typically have collisions, so there'd be three files there. Now I shouldn't need any of these old TOBJs. I'm going to leave that PMD right there, that shadow. I don't know what I was doing with that. That could be a problem. I shouldn't need any of these TOBJs in here anymore. Now, and the way I made this work with a separate deal here is, so I made a new chassis file and I just called it flat. I gave it a unique ID up here. You have to, all these files in the game, almost every single one of them, there's like one exception I can think of in your under trailer configurations where you don't. These all need unique names up here. If any of these, if this matches the name of another file, it's going to conflict and it's not going to work. So that needs a unique name. Call it 6x4 flatbed. It's pointing to chassis underscore flat instead of chassis, which is the original chassis file. Let's see. Yeah, it was calling for the shadow flat PMD that I had there, so I will leave that. That must have been a custom one I was fiddling with. And then variant 3A. That's this up here. So I had to make sure I got the correct variant there. So we're going to open TruckSim and see how it looks. This is a pretty fresh profile that I was using just to test out mods and see what's broken. Let's see. Mod dealer. Boom. Big problem there. So how did we manage that? Why are all these mats missing? I have no idea why those would be missing. You can tell we do have a problem with the material on the flatbed maybe, or is that because of the color? No, I'm not getting any of the flatbed. Okay, that was just the color of the truck, so it changes colors with the truck. Sometimes you get that red when one of the normals is messed up. See, and we got a problem here too. This requires more investigation. Oh, this is why. See what happened? It has this extra folder in front. I think that's because when I first imported the chassis, I did it wrong. So let's see if I can fix that. I'm not used to doing it this way. I'm used to doing it the wrong way, where I just put everything in one big folder. And now I've started putting my mods in separate folders, but when you do that, you have to select the right things down here when you open them. Otherwise, it screws you. So I'm going to open, yeah, we have it selected now. I still have the base set in the right place. So now I'm going to open just the regular chassis. And I just want to replace a lot of the parts. Problem is, it's kind of a pain in the ass to know what the hell you need to replace. We're going to have a bunch of tanks. Shit in here. We have the base, which is like our engine. And okay, I don't want to replace chassis 3. What is this? Front 2. Okay. So I'm going to delete that from our original because I don't want it there. It's going to be our shadow origin. See if this works. So I just deleted everything from that. Now I'm going to bring everything from here up. Now, I have no idea why the texture's screwed up on this guy. That one was pretty bizarre, but see if I make progress on all the missing stuff real quick. So this is one thing I like Zmod for. It's pretty easy to just grab big groups of things and swap them between. So I did all that. I'm going to delete that guy. Got it all swapped. Now I'm going to export. Oop, almost did the wrong thing there. Let's try it again. It's been a while since I've had an edit go that horribly wrong. Damn. Okay. Gotta swap out the suspension. But that's it. And figure out why the hell that's messed up, but okay, we'll take a look at that. So I'm gonna just re-import here the original chassis. Figure out what the hell the suspension is. It is 0303. Bring this one in from 0303. Turn that off. Okay. So now we've got this problem here. Oh, damn it. I've done the wrong thing. Undo. Put that one back. 02. Delete 02. Yeah, that was the shadow casting, not the actual model. Okay, now we've got that swapped over. Collapse, turn off. So now this one's pretty simple. Have to re-stretch it. Just center that up with our wheel nodes. Gotta go back to object before it'll let us delete any objects here. Delete. Alright, that ought to work. Oh, I know why this is messed up, because this was multiple objects. When I cut this away from the frame, I'm gonna redo that then. Show you what happened. So we're gonna import the flatbed chassis 28 hook. Yeah, this is a problem I've run into before. So I selected that. That's what it was. So these nuts here, these bolts, nuts, whatever, that's a different object. See how it lights up separately from that? Because that's a different object. When you highlight it here, see it says multiple materials, it's not just one. If we just highlight that, it's that material there. And these are that material there. Because it was two different materials and I turned it into one object, it screwed up the materials when I did that. So you gotta watch for that. I know I mentioned that in my last video a little bit. So we're gonna, once again, just gonna select that. It's all one material now. Detach polygons. Okay, we're in object mode still. Now those nuts, we can just grab those with it, and those nuts also had some other objects with it here, parts of the object. So I'm gonna highlight them, go to vertex, and just delete everything not associated with that. Okay, now when I highlight these, I don't need whatever that node is down in there. Okay, sometimes these things highlighted here will kind of show you what you have selected, but other times they don't. Like I have everything deselected, but they still show. So we're gonna kind of guess here. Actually, it'll tell us again if we go 4, want that object, and that one down there at the bottom, we know that was the one I just made. So we're just gonna drag that up to there, get it out of here, delete, and get it out of our way. And we know these belong in chassis 3. So I hope you guys don't mind the troubleshooting. It's kind of hopefully helpful if you have any problems to kind of see what happens, how to fix it. Just gonna take this. I don't know why I'm missing the hook node here. I'm gonna have to find that. It's somewhere. Anywho, so I've got that lined up there. I'm gonna turn off that one. Delete the original. We'll take a look. That looks pretty good. I forgot that it has those extra little wings on there that I don't really want. Okay, all better. Figure out where the hell the damn hook went. So we can back to Object, deselect, right click, find in views, zoom out. It's way the hell up there for some reason. Come on. The wrong thing. Right where I want it. Collision looks pretty good. Alright, I think we're in good shape, so now we're going to, hopefully for the last time, alright, we're sitting pretty good. Make sure, yep, our color kind of changes there. I'm pretty happy with that. Got lights where we need them. Now there's still some original lights and stuff under there that could get rid of if I wanted, but I'll probably just leave them. We have a minor difference in where our cables come out here, our airlines. I'm just going to move the node back on the truck. To the proper spot. Just have to come back a little bit and be fine. But yeah, that's kind of the quick and dirty how I go about doing stuff like this. So this thing's now ready to fix that minor issue, and hopefully I can upload it again so guys can keep running it, because I know the K100 is really popular. So I do kind of like this mod, not as much as my 3XX, but it's pretty fun. So anyways, thanks for watching.